And I wish there was something that we could do better with technology, that there's not this like horrible delay for streaming, but there just is. So as soon as it shows up on the YouTube side, we will kick off, but I can't, you have to wait just, a little bit.
82% uploading.
Oh my goodness, we are live. That's amazing. So thank you everyone for joining us. We're here today for another one of the Stacked demos, where we take you behind the scenes of tools that maybe you haven't heard of or haven't seen or have wanted to see. So you can kind of build out your knowledge of what's available on the market. And today we have Tammy with us as co-host.
Hello.
So excited to have her. She's been a co-host before on one of these, and I thought, got to get her back. She's got such great, experience for these topics. She has her own business. She's founder of Valley Consulting, and she is working on HR transformation end to end. You can ask her basically anything about that. So please make sure to connect with her. And we have Mayur here, who is the CEO and founder of RoundOne AI, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what his tool is for everyone who doesn't know what it is.
Thanks for having me, Jess, and hi Tammy, hi everyone. So RoundOne is a voice-enabled AI screening platform. It screens your candidates with a real-time voice conversation rather than relying on a CV. That's what it does in a nutshell.
I love that. I love that you hinted on CV there. We're going to get deep into this topic, I think. I think the screening is a big challenge these days. I feel like anyone who's on LinkedIn, in recruitment, in a business right now would feel the pain of the volume of resumes that are coming through into the pipeline. And it's like, what do we do?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my clients are very much like, how do you start differentiating when you start seeing the same, the same taglines, the same CV that's coming through all the time, and it just becomes like a blur of like the same kind of candidate coming through. So very interested to hear about this, Mayur.
Yeah, sure. I remember a couple of years ago, I think one of the events, Hungly or somebody mentioned that, it's going to be a deluge of CVs piling up, like, when you're receiving 200-300, now it's going to go to 1,000 and beyond. And I think that's already happening right now. It's a big challenge for recruiters.
Yeah. And I wonder if that means that people are closing their jobs earlier, not getting as many candidates into their pipeline, right? Like good qualified candidates. Because let's say someone, you open it for a couple of days and then you're like freaking out because there's so many, you're like, okay, we've got to close this now. Right. I wonder, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many challenges to solve in this whole space. So really interested to see how your product is, trying to solve these things. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about how how it's working, and also obviously we all want to see the tool. We're going to do a bit of a role play, by the way, because this tool has a role play element, well, not a role play, but like an element where someone does a video or a voice, audio interview. And so I'll be doing the audio interview, and then we'll see what that as part of the demo. So just that we'll be sharing that as well.
Sure. So the way I started or came to this idea was around 2022, towards the end of 2022 and 2023, when ChatGPT came around. A lot of highly motivated job seekers started using these AI tools to their advantage. There's nothing wrong in that. But then I was seeing CVs that would look like 10 on 10 on paper. Your 100 CVs, how do you shortlist? Because every CV is now heavily guarded with keywords. Looks like perfect candidate for this job description, right? And then you go on the interview or screening call, like first 5 or 10 minutes, you realize that now I don't think this is the same person that was on the CV. I don't blame them. Its market has been tough after COVID as well. So a lot of people would do whatever they can to get an interview, or even just to get in the door to speak to a recruiter, right?
Yeah.
But this challenge was on the rise, and I, being a more tech enthusiast person myself, I thought this problem has to be solved. You cannot just rely on the CV alone. So, it's a CV, it's a very hot buzzword, we will get into it. I saw the engagement on your post about CV. A lot of people are really interested in knowing more about how things goes forward.
Well, and that's the thing with CVs. I'm not a fan of CVs. I don't like them. To be honest, you look at them for like 7 seconds anyway, and then you flip through to the next one. Like, no one's really looking at them. They don't reflect reality, generally speaking. I find a CV horrible to write. Like, I'm always like, what do I put in here? How do I do this best? And you want to reflect yourself, but you also want to just, quote unquote, you want to game the system. Like, you want to get in, you want to get that interview. So you also try every hack possible to get that interview. So, and then you've got, it's just a mass of mess that we have to deal with.
I think there's also this element of, I think there's a great candidate experience that can happen, because I think some people struggle to, like you're saying, how do I get myself across? And sometimes people are so much better when they're vocal. And so you can hear the excitement in someone's voice. You can hear when somebody's reading or saying something fluently and fluidly, as opposed to just kind of reading some, just reading text on a thing. So I really like the idea of, because you can hear in someone's voice and the passion and how excited they are about the role, whether they're a good fit as well.
Yeah. So take it away. We'll hand over to you. We're all here to see what is this tool? What is it? But also maybe what is it not? I think you said you also wanted to share.
Let me share my screen.
Can everybody see the screen? If it needs to be zoomed in, just say zoom in the chat and we'll make sure it's zoomed in. But good. I don't hear you anymore. You're muted. How did that happen?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. I was like, why is nothing, no sound?
I personally hate slides myself, so I'm gonna be very quick with the slides and then we'll move on to the demo. But I just want to use this opportunity to tell what we are not, because the other day someone asked me whether we can do payrolls. Let's say it's the HR and recruitment worldwide is so much confused into their specific areas. So I want to just be clear what we're not, and then we'll move on to what we are. We are not a sourcing tool, right? You already have enough candidates. You put out a job, next you get 300, 400, 500 candidates. So we're not a sourcing tool. We don't find candidates. We're not also a video interview tool, right? We are not going to interview your candidates on a video. There are no camera, no scheduling, no awkward recordings. We are not a skill assessment. If we don't quiz people, we talk to them. Of course, we are not an ATS, yet another ATS. We don't intend to be an ATS. You already have your ATS, so we plug into your ATS just like a quick bolt-on and work very seamlessly with your ATS. Very important, we are not a decision maker. We won't reject candidates. We build a shortlist. Your team makes the call.
Yeah, very important.
The most important part, it's not a replacement for recruiters. We handle the volume. You do the judgment, right? So we'll find the signal. We'll give you the signal. It's up to you to make the decision for who goes forward, right? So what is RoundOne? It's an AI voice screening platform for very high volume hiring. So if you're receiving a lot of applications or if you're hiring for a lot of roles, RoundOne is a tool you should use, where every candidate gets heard. Your team gets the evidence-based shortlist, and decision still stays human, right? So you're still in control of exactly how and who moves forward. So let's jump into the live demo. I'm going to divide this into 3 sections, and we'll try and keep very brief, but make sure it gets over to audience. The first part, we'll create a screening configuration. That's step 1. So you configure how RoundOne screens candidate. Second is the candidate experience, where either Jess or Tammy would play as a candidate, just a role play, a couple of minutes to see how candidates would hear. And then we'll move back to the seeing the actual short list. So I have a few more candidates who have taken this screening. We'll have a data, and we'll see how this looks. That's where you make a decision. So that's the most important part, right? We'll move on to the next step now. All right. Let me switch my screens.
And while we're getting that up, What about GDPR?
Yeah, so it's fully GDPR compliant. All the EU data protection laws, everything, we are quite compliant with that. Also in the process of getting some more US specific certifications like SOC 2, should be in a couple of months here.
Yeah. And
very strict with the data. I know it's, we hold the candidate data. It's very important. So
Yeah.
very careful with that.
And what about EU AI Act? I mean, we talked about it, the human in the loop. We're not making decisions where,
Very, very careful. I personally, ethically would feel bad if because of this tool, somebody would lose an opportunity to a job. It's very ethical. We keep it very centered, keep decisions humans, right? We want to do this at scale, but we want humans to be in the driving seat.
Yeah. Okay. Show us how we set up
let's
screening.
move on to the step 1. Step 1 is where we create and configure the screening. So when you log into RoundOne, this is your dashboard. Let's start with creating a new screening. Right? There are a few ways you can do that. You can either upload the job description. If you're integrated with an ATS, you can fetch the job description from your ATS, or just be creative and be as brief or as detailed as you want to be. Okay? So for now, we'll create a screening for a customer support role, which is usually very high volume role. And I'm going to be very brief about describing it. So hiring for a customer support role for us, someone to work on customer queries.
So you could drop the job description here.
You can just drop in or upload the entire job description, right? I'll be very, very brief, and we'll let AI do the heavy lifting. Let's go to the next step. So now AI is evaluating that what all screening questions you should ask. What should be your screening outline, basically? So if you're a recruiter, you're aware of, as soon as you get the job description or details from the hiring manager, you would create a screening outline that you would follow when you speak to every candidate. Right? So here is a quick screening outline recommended by an AI. It's divided into 4 clear sections of must have, good to have, cultural fit, and logistics. And as a recruiter, you have full control of changing or editing anything in this case, right? So you must have 2+ years of customer support experience and proficient in chat and email, right? I'd say 2+ years of customer support experience is very important. I can jump this as a knockout question. Click on this button. Now this is a knockout question.
It could also be knockout if they don't have validity to work in a certain country or like.
So is logistics? So
do knockout.
Right?
So you can just add in additional questions if you need to.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. So let's add that question as a matter of fact. So in logistics, we already have a couple of things: availability for flexible hours, salary range. Let me add one more. Work visa. Let's say in the UK.
Right to work in the UK.
Right to work in the UK. Yeah. And I'll mark this as a knockout question as well. So this is really important. If they don't have these 2, then it doesn't matter, how good the candidate is. It's not going to be a good fit. Next step is the grading rubric. Now, everyone in the recruitment industry knows this, but some of the non-recruiter users, like startup founders, they find this quite puzzling. We have grading rubric pre-populated by an AI, but you still have full control of what's the right answer, what's the wrong answer. So you're not making it a black box. You want AI to evaluate your answers, but then you want to give the guidelines of this, what's the right answer, what's the wrong answer.
So this is where like human in the loop becomes important, right? And being able to kind of check and kind of make your own assessments as well. Yeah.
And like, what does good look like for you and your company? What is like the good? What is the answer we're actually looking for? And what are we actually like evaluating against to some degree, right?
Yes. So it come based on the job description and the role. It came up with a few of them. We have about 5 criteria here, and passing answer and failing answer, different weightage points as well. So I'm not going to edit anything right now. Let's just go to the next step. And here you can preview this screening before you send it out to your candidates.
Are you able to zoom the screen? It's just a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
And while I'm here, I'll also ask the question that was asked: what languages do you support?
Perfect page for the question. There are a lot of languages that we support, and we keep on adding new languages. So even within English, there are different accents that we support, and many different languages as well. For example, there's German, French.
You have to select the language beforehand, and versus the candidate selecting the language.
No, you select the language, right? Because
me as a candidate, or you
as a recruiter or as a hiring manager, you have control of the language and accent.
That could be interesting to allow the candidate to change the language.
We thought about this, but the problem is if I'm hiring for someone to work in the English-speaking environment, and if candidate can start speaking, let's say in another language, in Hindi or in some other language, right? However good the candidate may be with the skills, but the language might be a barrier.
Okay, yeah, so makes sense why you wouldn't change it. But then again, maybe I'm proficient in English, but I can explain my experience better in my native language.
Good point.
No, I don't know. I'm just thinking like, as I see it, I'm like, what would be the benefits versus not? But no, I understand why you like that.
So you choose the language and the accent. Let's go for British and female for now. And then you can also name your agent. So when agent speaks to candidate, they can introduce themselves as agent named this. Let me give this name Sarah, for example. When it speaks to candidate, it would say, this is Sarah from XYZ company, and I'm calling to screen you for this role. And before
you mentioning earlier that you're thinking of making it like customizable to like a person, the voice?
Yeah. I'll show you right after I create this.
Cool.
It's kind of cool because then if you hear the same voice of like a screening and then you're speaking to that same recruiter and you hear that same voice, I mean, that really helps with customer experience, right? Of just a candidate experience of hearing them. That's pretty cool.
So for example, we have that. This is a very new feature, by the way, custom voices. So I have created few of my own voices here. So if you see Mayur English, this is like I've given my own voice, cloned it. So I can choose that. I'll show that feature right after I create the screening. It's very nice, neat thing. So you can test drive basically how the candidates would feel like, what they hear when the recruiters or the AI speaks to them. And if you're happy with how it works, get it started talking. Let me just end this. If you're happy with everything, let's create a screening. So now the first step is done. We've created a screening configuration. So now AI knows what's your screening outline, what are the important points, what's the knockout questions about language and accent to speak in. And before I go to the role play, I just want to show you these custom voices. It's a very new thing that we have recently introduced. But as a recruiter, you can speak for 10 seconds and it would clone your voice.
Wow, just 10 seconds.
Yes, that's all it takes.
And it's so realistic. It's so realistic. It's really mind-boggling. When I heard myself, it's truly amazing. You should try this.
And then it just replicates it, and it will just like going forward, like whatever questions you put in, it's going to be that person's voice.
Wow,
so AI will completely speak in your voice. Yeah.
I would love to do this, and just see what it sounds like. Just really want to know what I sound like. But I think that, like what Tammy was saying, that brings the candidate experience up, because like when you get some random bot voice, right? Like you're like, okay, yeah. But if you get like, there's the feeling of like, this is
connection.
like, Jessie, the recruiter, Jessie, in this team, and you can even name it your name and say this is Jessie's like, interviewer, AI. I don't know, maybe there's some way for you, even if as you go forward, to even show that like somehow, not like a person, not like I don't think the visual needs to be there of like the human, but like somehow indicate that this is like a clone of a recruiter in the actual team, and this is their voice speaking with the recruiter. Like I kind of
it makes it such a human experience, I think, when applying for jobs.
An AI human experience. I have a feeling some people will like hate this and some people will love it. I'm on the I really like this, because if we're going to use AI, we may as well like make it like this, like make it nice as possible,
make it human, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I personally think that for a couple of years, maybe less than a couple of years, there will still be a friction of AI versus human, but then people would get very comfortable doing everything with AI. still these two sides heavily. Yeah. All right, so you can create a voice, use that in your screening. The next thing we want to do is invite candidates, right? So step 1 is done, step 2, invite candidates. Again, if you are part of the ATS integration, then you don't do this. It happens automatically when you use this with your ATS. Right?
Yeah.
But if you're using it as a standalone, just dump all the CVs that you keep receiving. We'll extract the name and email, and we'll invite all the candidates.
Yeah.
Or just go ahead and copy the link or copy the LinkedIn message, send it over to wherever you're receiving these candidates from, and they would use this link to start their screening on RoundOne.
Now you've sent me a screening link earlier, because I'm going to share my screen now.
Yeah, so I'll start sharing my screen. Yeah.
And I'm going to do the interview. So I'm going to share it now. If anyone cannot hear what is going on here,
you might want to use a different email, by the way.
Oh, a different email?
Because you already used this.
All right, everyone can
might already be in the system.
Everyone, you can see my private email. It's all good. You can email. Continue. Okay, welcome, Jessie.
This is important. The three points in the middle, which are really important. Some companies have recently got into heavy trouble in the US. We know all about the lawsuits.
Yeah. So before you start, ensure you're in a quiet environment. You've got testing your stuff, no hidden data. You're always aware when AI is involved. Is screening is transparent. So there was a question asked, like, do people know it's an AI? Yes, I understand. I do understand all of that, and I want to participate. All right, let's start. I hope you hear.
Hi, Jessie Schofer. Thanks for your interest in the customer support role at Contoso Limited. I have a few quick questions to see if it might be a good fit. Are you ready to begin now?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Perfect. Before we dive in, I just need to confirm a few quick details to make sure this role aligns with your background. So to start, can you tell me a bit about your customer support experience?
So
how long have you been working in that space?
Oh, how long have I working in that space? Actually, I think it's been about 3 years that I've been working in customer service, primarily in the tech industry. Yeah, is there anything else you need to know?
That's great, Jessie. 3 years in tech customer service is solid experience. Just one more quick thing I need to confirm. If we moved forward with this opportunity, when would you be available to start? Would you be able to join?
Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. Wow, that was rude. I'd be able to start in earliest at 2 weeks.
No worries at all, Jessie. 2 weeks works perfectly for us. That's great. Okay, so now I'd love to learn more about the types of support work you've been doing.
Okay, so
can you walk me through?
Because I think we get the idea, right? That was just to show everyone. So to go through these questions, I would obviously answer, and I would not answer silly, and I would, I would do it better if I was a real candidate. So I will stop sharing, and then.
And the voice that you heard right now, it was obviously an AI voice, but then if you clone your voice, you could use your own voice. That candidates here, right?
I could be like the Jessie Schofer voice clone, and you could just have Jessie Schofer interviewing you.
Yeah, I saw a question pop up in the chat to ask, like, how do you confirm that it is the actual candidate who's answering the questions? So to confirm their identity.
Yeah, that's one of the problems in some regions. Very heavy issues with that. We at this time, because we're only doing voice screening, there's no easy way to confirm that's the same candidate, right? But we are working on some very smart solutions. I don't want to be heavily proctoring them or ask them to upload their IDs or do the video screenings. So we are working on some creative solutions to still, identify the right candidates.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big problem.
It's also like, how do you know the person sitting in front of you is also the person they say they are, right? Like without seeing an ID. And you do generally do that step. I think, let's say you get through the end, you do your background checks, you do your ref checks, you do your candidate fraud checks. Like there's other tooling that does that in the pipeline. It's just when that happens and your company's like, you know, process around that. I think at the very first stage, when you're literally just like first stage after a CV comes in, that's what this is doing, capturing more data, enhancing, you know, enriching the data on candidates to make sure we're getting, you know, the right ones at the top of the stack.
And so here is how the sort list looks like. So it's the same screening, but I had created earlier, and then we had few other people do this as well. So every candidate is given a rating out of 5 on many different areas. We'll go in the details very soon, but then here is your sort list. So now I see a candidate with 4.7, 4.5, and then I also have candidates with 1 and 2 and 1.6, right? Assume this is just 26 if it was 260 candidates. I now very much know which 10 or 15 candidates I personally want to engage with as a recruiter. And this is not based on keyword-based CV. This is based on pure conversations. If I go in any of the details, let me go to the top candidates detail.
And this is dummy data, right? This isn't actual candidate data at the
These
moment.
are the dummy data. For this demo, it's dummy data. Yes. Right. I didn't want to expose actual candidates. So this is a detailed report of this particular candidate. We have the full audio, we have the transcript, some of the basic things that you need. But then this is where it gets really interesting, right? So you define the criteria. These are subjective conversations, right? It's an interesting thing because these are not binary discussions. You're not asking them yes or no questions. But AI then objectifies from those conversations and then gives them a rating, right? So because this is 2+ years and Raj has been working for 10 years, so he gets 5 out of 5. And similarly, for every criteria that you configured and based on the weightage that you had in the rubric, right, it would give them a rating for each of the section and then give you a final rating and a quick summary. And if you use this with ATS, then you would get all of this summary, everything in your ATS. So you don't even need to come to RoundOne. Everything, your flow goes without any interruptions.
Yeah. And the outcome here is all based on all of that prep work you do before, obviously, when you set it up. So you need to be able to know what does good look like to you? What are you actually assessing for, which we should be doing in recruitment anyway. That's set up and you're assessing against that in the first step after the CV comes in. And then what does that give you? That's like the recruiter's screening. And would you then recommend after that another step, like the recruiter then does their normal call?
That's right.
You know,
so recruiters now have much more solid data to work with. So when they now call candidates, first of all, they're not calling 40, 50, or 500 candidates now, right? They're calling just the top 10 or 15 who have already shown that they are very good for this role. So now when they you know, it's kind of a very thin, we're blurring the boundary of a screening and the first interview. So I call it RoundOne AI. That's the purpose of the name. You ask some role-specific questions, but then also some screening questions, very basic questions. So you have half of the interview done in the screening call itself.
Does this take any information from the CV into account, or only from the audio?
Just from the audio. Okay.
Just from the audio. Yeah. And you can, if you're as an agency or as an internal recruiter, you can share this report to the interview panel. So whoever goes into the interview, they already know that the candidate has performed this well before they start talking to them.
So
it saves a lot of time.
Sorry.
Can you extract this? So if you're sharing with somebody who's not using the platform, can you do like a download?
Absolutely. You can just, if you click on this share assessment button, it gives you a link, which is, they don't need any access to the platform.
Very cool.
They see a public view of these exact details.
Oh, cool. Good. Then we're actually 1 minute till the end.
About time.
We managed to fit ourselves in, but you've got obviously dashboard. There's other things, right? So if you want to know more about this tool, you can reach out. You can obviously go to RoundOne. You can go to Stacked. They're on Stacked. Stacked.tech, the HR tech database that I have, if you're not aware of it, and you know, get to know more about the tool, see if it's something interesting for, you know, your company and what you do in your recruitment. I do think we're going to need more and more technology in this space, just because of the challenges we're seeing around the volume of, you know, it's not getting easier, more and more layoffs, more and more people looking for jobs. So it's about how do we get through that in a in a way that makes sense, that gives us signals that we can then, you know, go back and look at. So yeah, very interesting to see the product today. Thank you.
You're really doing a good service to the community, Jess, you know, by putting all of this together in a stacked way. Yeah, it's really can get really diluted. So many tools, like every day there's new tool comes out, right?
It feels like every day a new tool comes out. It's probably true these days. And thank you again, Tammy, for joining. Thanks for asking relevant questions. And everyone who joined live today, thank you so much. And look forward to connecting with everyone on LinkedIn. If you haven't already, please find us and do so. And until next time, we have more demos, more webinars. Make sure you subscribe to the Luma calendar where you registered for this event so you don't miss any of our other ones coming up. And until next time, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.